back again doing another video for you guys. It's been a little while, but thought I'd do one anyways because this is not only another video, this is a top list video. To say that 2024 has been a pretty good year for the Godzilla franchise would be an understatement, as not only did we got Godzilla's Kong New Empire, but you know, the Godzilla brand is becoming more and more, you know, popular these days. But also the fact that 2024 marks the anniversary day for two of Godzilla's most iconic foes, one of which also happens to be the topic of this top list video, and probably my personal favorite kaiju, and it is of course King Ghidorah. Space dragon himself, Ghidorah has been a grand staple of the franchise ever since his debut in Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, and to this day he is considered, you know, Godzilla's arch nemesis, the biggest of baddies in the franchise, and it's just an overall, you know, icon, you know, of the kaiju genre in general. So it's only natural that I do a video dedicated to the three-headed space demon himself. And since a lot of this channel covers a lot of figures, why not I of course rank all of the Ghidorah figures that I have in my collection. I should address a couple of ground rules before we get started. The first rule, and this is a big obvious one, this is my personal opinion. You know, this isn't, you know, the overall like statement on, you know, which of these is like the definitive like Ghidorah figure or what have you. This is just my own like personal opinion on each one of them, you know, and I'll pretty much you know, judge them on, you know, how, you know, by their price, you know, their quality, you know, if I think, you know, they're a good representation of the designs of the character, what have you. So those are like the general like, you know, mindset that I'm gonna go into when ranking the figures that I own. And the second is that I don't really have like the biggest kaiju collection, if it's kind of obvious. I mean, it mainly consists of the basics like, you know, Bandai and Playmates and what have you. You know, I may have stated this before, but I'm not one that's like really like hyper focused on buying the most expensive, you know, buys like something like SH Monster Arts or X Plus, although you will see at least one SH Monster Arts in this list, but that's all you're gonna see. But in general, you know, this is just, you know, the general, you know, basis that I'm gonna go when, you know, ranking, you know, these figures. But, you know, those are the only rules I got. And with that being said, let's get into the ranking. Coming in at the number 7 spot goes to the Bandai Movie Monster Series anime Ghidorah. Now, I did customize mine a while back to be a little bit more appealing with proper gold paint all over, but the base figure it's not the worst thing. Like, I actually do like the sculpts of the head, and it does have a nice like size presence, but the yellow translucent plastic is kind of basic. Like, it definitely has a pretty like gummy feeling to it. And, you know, with the position of the body, it does make it a little tricky to pose it with like other like monster figures, which is an issue with most other flying monsters. But at least some of the gold dry brushing on some of the top does help it kind of a bit. But like I said, I customized mine a while ago to make it a little bit more appealing in my shelf, in my personal opinion. Coming in at number 6 is kind of a surprise one. It is King Ghidorah from Godzilla King of Monsters by Bandai. Now, even though this Ghidorah is my personal favorite Ghidorah like ever, this figure here is a bit underwhelming, honestly. For starters, I feel like he could have benefited if he had articulation, especially around the necks, and the yellowing at paint and tan paint that was on him
and of course mine is customized so he'll have more gold, was a bit much and kind of felt a little cheap, but the detailing is still pretty good, especially on some of the scoots and scales. And the sculpt, while it is inaccurate, I actually really do like it, as Ghidorah does look menacing around the faces, and I actually do like the added claw that gives it a little bit of personality. Again, it is inaccurate, but the sculpt does actually help the figure a bit on being hindered by a long margin, so that's a plus. Coming in at number 5 is a classic one. It is the Bandai America GMK Ghidorah. Now, even though this Ghidorah is kind of mixed within the fandom, you cannot deny that Bandai America's attempt on this one is a good one. And this is, of course, the reissue I have with the curled up tail and repositioned wings. And I have to say owning it, I could definitely see why a lot of people gravitate towards it. Like, the overlapping scales, it's definitely Ghidorah-like, and I really do like the gold presented. The only thing that really hindered the figure are the faces. Like, they are a little bit on the cartoony side, and the pink around the mouth is a bit overwhelming. But what I actually do like about this Ghidorah is that, you know, most Ghidorah figures are kind of smaller sometimes, but this actually works for this Ghidorah considering how small he was in the movie. So I do like to position this guy a lot with my GMK figure that I got. Number 4 was a tough one to decide, but after thinking about it, it has to go to the SH Monster Arts Monster X. Now, Monster X is another one of my favorite Ghidorahs, as, you know, he has a really unique design, and I really do like the bone white coloring on this figure, as it has a glossy look, and the articulation is really unique for this figure. But the things that do hold him back are the price point. With $150, it's definitely a bit much considering you get the Monster X and his extra hands. And some of his articulation around one of his hands and his tail are a bit loose, which can be a little annoying admittedly. But this figure in general does encapsulate the menacing look that Monster X had in Godzilla Final Wars, and he is a really fun one to pair up with my final Goji figure. And, you know, like I said, one of my favorite designs of the character for sure. Number 3 is a surprise, but it goes to the Movie Monster Series Mecha King Ghidorah. Now, this is the 2018 release, and I was definitely in happy mode when I got him. This figure, for kind of a while, was really sought after, and it was kind of hard to find during the aftermarket. But fortunately, Bandai, when they started their ultimate comeback, they re-released this guy, and I'm really glad they did, as Mecha King Ghidorah is a unique take on the character, and this is definitely a unique one in my collection, as you get both the traditional Ghidorah detailing around the legs and faces, and of course the mechanical detailing, especially with the mechanical head, as I really like the emerald green eyes. And I especially like the heads of the natural heads, as I really like the eyes, as they give out the viper-like Ghidorah eyes that we're accustomed to. He is a little smaller next to Heisei Godzilla figures, but that's only minor, and I still really enjoyed this one. Number 2 goes to a really big one in my collection, and it is the Treadmaster's King Ghidorah from the Godzilla King of Monsters line way back then. Now, this is a classic Ghidorah for me. Like, it got everything. A retro, like, dragon look. The heads are a bit stylized, but they still captured the menacing look of the Heisei Ghidorah. And what really sells me on this figure is the size. I mean, even though this Ghidorah was a little bit under scale with the Godzilla that he came with, he actually goes perfectly with 6-inch Godzillas. Like, look how he scales next to the NECA figure right here. Truly amazing. And of course, the added bonus that his batteries actually still work on mine, and his wing action really makes him a really fun one to handle, as well as a welcome addition into my shelves, as this is the Ghidorah with great shelf presence. I mean, no other Ghidorah figure can beat this one, right? Wrong, cause number 1 goes to Kaiser Ghidorah, the original movie Monster Series figure. Oh my goodness, look at this guy. This Ghidorah, just look at him. He has the perfect details. He has the perfect size. He looks freaking terrifying on the heads. This is everything that I want in Ghidorah, and Bandai delivered it way back then. It's definitely a shame that the newest one doesn't live up to this figure like at all, and I am just amazed every time I hold this figure. I mean, his articulation is really fun to play around with, and like I said, he has great shelf presence, like the black on the gold wash all over really makes him pop out with the details, and the fact that, you know, that he's still popular even after the aftermarket. I mean, I'm sure a lot of collectors are still trying to get him. It's a must. He is a must.
So yeah, let's take a nice panoramic look of all the Ghidorahs I got. Honestly, these aren't every Ghidorah. Like, I'm still need a Showa Ghidorah and a Desk Ghidorah, but you know, other than that, I'm really blessed with the Ghidorah figures I do have, and the fact that I got some popular ones in my collection, I'm definitely blessed with, and the fact that Ghidorah is celebrating 60 years, let's all celebrate, man. So yeah, so this video is commemoration of the iconic space demon's birthday. So yeah, so I hope everyone enjoyed this top list, and I'll see you guys in the next one.